Chapter 101, Strange Posture. So Phong lowered his head to look at the bow tie on his toes, thinking if it must not touch water then how could he bathe later? Does it hurt? Is it the wound? Van Han asked gently. No, it is fine. So Phong shook his head, lifting the cold bowl of rice to eat. Even if it hurts, you must endure. Van Han stuck out her little tongue playfully, then picked up her bowl to eat. After more than 20 minutes, the dinner was done. Van Han cleared the dishes, then fed the 2 rabbits, and took out the rope she had finished last night. So Phong raised his right foot and walked outside the wooden hut, intending to pull some logs back. He wanted to make a large table so they would not always eat on the stone. What are you going to do? Van Han asked. Pull logs back, split into planks for a table. So Phong said softly. I will help you. Van Han stood up quickly. I can do it alone. So Phong refused. Do it alone, with that leg? Van Han narrowed her eyes at his foot. All right then. So Phong pursed his lips, knowing it was useless to explain. She looked like a strict housekeeper. When I was gathering firewood, I saw a very big log, at least half a meter wide, tens of meters long. Van Han said calmly. Where? So Phong asked in surprise. Yes. He nodded thoughtfully. Outside the shelter was another fire. Since that night being spied on, Van Han was still afraid, especially going to the toilet at night, so she decided to light another fire outside to scare beasts. Then use this log. So Phong chose one not too large. Is it not too heavy? Van Han asked, as there were many large logs here she could not lift. This one was about 5 or 6 meters long, broken as if snapped, more than 20 centimeters wide. It is fine, just right. So Phong turned, hugging the log, preparing to drag it back. Be careful with your foot. Van Han reminded, then helped to pull. I know. So Phong replied, pressing with his heel. Rustle. Wait until sweat comes out then bathe. He pulled the log to the fire to burn. If sweating then bathing in cold water, he would almost surely catch a cold. Using fire to break the log again? Van Han asked curiously. This way takes less effort. So Phong sat by the fire, poking it with a stick. Half an hour later, the log burned to arm size, then he pulled it out and used the axe to chop the rest. Crack! Snap! Now split the log, then it will be planks. He murmured. He dug a pit, set the log upright, and struck down with the axe. The blades sank a little. Crack! He struck the axe back with a stick, using impact to split, saving effort. Bang, thump! He even beat to the rhythm of 2 tigers, making the girl laugh. Crack, the log split in half. So flat. So Phong looked at the smooth cut, just needed some work to make planks for a table. Now there are 4 planks, only smoothing left. He raised the axe to shave. So Phong, do you not want to bathe? Van Han reminded, the night was getting colder. Ah! He paused, realizing he had forgotten time. Here, take these. Van Han blushed, handing him clothes. You can also boil water. So Phong chuckled, wait a bit, do you not want to rub down too? I know. Van Han blushed and answered. So Phong took the towel, charcoal powder, and clothes, then went into the bath hut and poured cold water to wash. Cold, so cold. The water hit his body, his muscles tightened, his heart skipped a beat, the stabbing chill was intense. If his injured foot got wet, surely the girl would scold him again. Chapter 102, The Natural Enemy. Cold is humanity's greatest enemy. No matter how strong one is, the chill still seeps into the bones. Winter will be even colder than now, this is definitely not a good thing. So Phong muttered to himself. Until now he still had no clothes, only a pair of crude shorts and a patched cloth trouser that Xiao Smart had found, cut into 4 pieces to rotate for washing and wearing. It seems besides food, I must also plan for warm clothing. He used bamboo tubes to pour water over his body, rinsing off the black soot. Bang bang. He scrubbed vigorously, wiped dry, quickly dressed in patched trousers and shorts. No, tomorrow I must bathe with warm water. He flexed his stiff body, lifted the wooden frame and walked out. Here, change shoes. Van Han brought shoes, squatting to place them on the ground. I can change later. So Phong whispered. Then your feet will be dirty, there is water here, wash them quickly. Van Han tapped his leg, signaling him to lift. Why do I feel like a young master? So Phong teased. Haha, but worse than 500 young masters. Van Han laughed. Indeed, a young master without clothes, rope shoes on feet, bathing only with cold spring water. So Phong sighed helplessly. Then I am a poor young master. All right, young master, hurry inside. She rolled her eyes. Have you boiled the water yet? He asked softly. The second pot is boiling. She replied, knowing one pot was never enough. Do you plan to bathe inside this frame or in the hideout? He lowered his voice. Inside the hideout, it will be warmer. He decided. The hideout was warmer with reflected firelight, so she would not catch cold. No, not that. Van Han stammered shyly. I will take the camera outside, and the 3 drones are back for charging, you need not worry. He reassured. The drones had to be serviced every 3 days, taking 2 to 3 hours before returning. Thump thump. Entering the hut, they heard the iron pot boiling, the second pot ready. Let's go. So Phong smiled, taking the camera outside, leaving the blushing girl. Inside the dark hideout, it was discreet but made her shyer. Hoo-hoo. She breathed deeply, poured hot water into a tub, mixed with cold until warm. Time to bathe. Van Han carried the tub inside, eyes glancing to the entrance, hands undressing quickly. Hoo. Warm water relaxed her pores, releasing fatigue. Armpits, thighs, neck, she carefully cleaned, afraid of any odor. 5 minutes passed. Bang bang. The water cooled, she stopped, hurried to dress. Dressed neatly, she exhaled, softly called, So Phong, done. Outside, tending the fire, he heard and entered with the camera. He saw her demurely sewing shoes, as if nothing happened, though her neck and ears were flushed red. He pressed his lips, said nothing, set the camera by the fire, began crafting a table. Gathering sturdy sticks, he muttered, with planks, build V-frames, tie sticks, place the half-round planks, calculate properly. Over an hour later. Crack! He had made 4 V-frames, fitted 2 planks, forming a table. We have a table. Van Han exclaimed, eyes shining. The table was over 2 meters long, 40 centimeters wide, with a small gap in between. In the city it would be discarded, but in the wilderness it was a treasure. Sometimes no need for luxury, just having is great fortune. I will make 2 benches, no need to sit on cold stones. He smiled. Your hands are skillful. She praised with a thumbs up. You too. He grinned, heart filled with joy. Making all took another half hour. Here, try the bench. He placed a school-like long bench by the table. From nothing to useful items, the sense of achievement was immense. This is our first piece of furniture. He smiled at her radiant face, fatigue of the night chased away by joy. Chapter 103, Saving Strength. At night in the shelter, the 2 lay on a bed of leaves and grass, eyes blank staring at the roof. Buzz buzz buzz. Above, mosquitoes circled, sometimes whining. Go down, you hateful bugs. These damn mosquitoes are too annoying. Zhao Lei angrily slapped his arm, then saw a squashed mosquito in his palm. In the wild, mosquitoes were the most hateful, always biting at every chance, as if they wanted to drain you in one breath. The foul smell on their bodies attracted even more flies. Then do not lie down, go warm by the fire. Zhao Li lazily said. Sitting is too tiring. Zhao Lei calmly replied. He did not want to move, wanting to save strength and avoid wasting fat. Zhao Li rolled his eyes, angry. Then you should smear some mud. No, that stench is unbearable. Zhao Lei refused. Every day they smeared mud, their skin was irritated, so these days they dared not apply more. I wonder how many have been eliminated. Zhao Lei no longer spoke with spirit. Survival here was far harsher than their past trips, too few tools, too many things they could not do. In the past, going out was like traveling, enjoying the wild solitude. Now it was true survival, bringing suffering. Surely not many remain, even we suffer like this. Zhao Li frowned. Certainly few, like So Fong's team, and that rich boy Yang Chang with the Lu sisters. I bet they are eliminated. Zhao Lei said firmly. Though not top level, the two had good reputation among amateurs, yet now they survived only by enduring hunger. They whispered to each other, if they endured 1 month they could leave, at least earning 100,000 reward. Then next time when it opened, they would try their luck again. Too few tools, too harsh environment. Zhao Li sighed. Days ago they found beast droppings, too scared to explore far, hiding in camp. Once they saw a boar torn at the throat, that scene frightened them, long time they dared not venture. Growl. Zhao Lei's stomach suddenly rumbled, embarrassed he said, my belly is digesting food. Ha ha. Zhao Li laughed, their last meal was yesterday noon, still digesting now, was it melting fat? Shall we eat some lizards? Zhao Lei sat up, looked at several lizards on the fire. Hunger made him weak, only wanting to eat. Eat, tomorrow we hunt, we cannot go on like this. Zhao Li also could not stand it, stood and went to the fire. Ah! Can we catch anything? Nearby are wild berries, we might endure longer. Zhao Lei hesitated. But relying only on these, hard to last long. Zhao Li held a lizard small as a hand, helpless, if no food replenished, our bodies will waste. But... Zhao Lei looked at the night, tall body trembling. We should avoid bare grounds, safer here. Zhao Li sighed. Fine. Zhao Lei reluctantly agreed. All night searching, they caught snakes, lizards and scorpions, anything edible. If not for beast traces, they might find more. Viewers watching live grew angry. Especially those from So Fong and Yun Han's channel, they flooded comments. Look, the little lowly and So Fong sleep already. Yes. Oh my, 2 big men, why so timid? Tall and strong, yet compared with 2 girls next door, they are cowardly. Looks like they want to quit. I just want to see after they leave, while the girls live well, how their faces look. Yes, waiting for that too. Chapter 104, Firing Pottery. So Phong woke up, still drowsy, hearing the chirping of birds outside. He knew the weather was fine. He sniffed and caught a faint smell, then saw the girl's hair giving off an oily scent. Could it be that she sweated yesterday without washing her hair, he murmured. On Xian Noyet Island, if one sweated without washing, the smell turned sour and pungent. Humph. Van Han suddenly opened her eyes, lifted her lip, pinched his waist with 2 fingers. NK Books. So Phong gasped sharply, his face twitching. Last night, after finishing the wooden table and chairs, they slept. The girl was still recovering, of course she dared not wash. Van Han tilted her head, narrowed her eyes, and asked calmly, does my hair smell heavy? Is it obvious? Not heavy, not obvious. So Phong shook his head quickly. Really? She smiled faintly. Humph. She snorted, whether to believe or not was up to her. We should get up. He yawned. Such morning banter made them wide awake, as before they often had such little fun. She blushed, hurriedly moving away from him. He sat up, but before sitting properly, his right leg was caught by her. He stared at her, puzzled. What is it? Let me see the sole of your foot. She lifted his leg. Eh? He rolled his eyes, standing still, letting her soft hands hold him. Do not move. She untied the cloth knot, revealing the herbal patch. She peeled it off, finding a faint scar beneath, almost healed. Ah! So fast? She exclaimed. Only a small scar remains. She frowned, thinking perhaps the herb was truly strong. Good enough. He pulled his leg back, put on trousers and shoes, and stepped out. He dared not let her check further, lest she notice something strange, since normally such wounds took at least 3 days to heal. The weather is so good. He looked up, stretched his body, ready for the day's work. So Phong, brush your teeth quickly. Her clear voice came. Okay. He replied. After brushing and drinking, they began their own tasks. She cooked breakfast. He planned the camp, built shelter, and managed bamboo pipes. He took the shovel, dug a pit a meter away from the bamboo water outlet. He intended it as a water reservoir for washing. Clang clang. The shovel striking stone screeched. So many stones. He wiped sweat, threw stones aside. Half an hour later, a pit of 1.5 meters wide, half a meter deep, was done. Spread stones inside, so the water will not get muddy. He muttered, lining the bottom and sides with flat stones, forming a stone pool. Next, make a platform to wash clothes. He placed flat stones by the pool. Then connect the bamboo pipes. He led the water into the pool. So Phong. Her voice startled him. Who? He tensed, then calmed. When focused, one could be easily startled. He scared you. She teased. Breakfast ready? He rolled his eyes. Yes, done. She nodded. Come, eat. He washed his hands, walked toward the hut. She washed too, then followed him in. Now with a table, washing hands was easy, no splashing mess. Now it feels right. He saw the table with breakfast on top. With the table was far better than without, no more crouching on ground or stone. Sit down quickly. She urged. All right. He sat, before him bamboo bowl with chopsticks and spoon. He looked up, they smiled. So Phong, later should I collect branches? She sipped soup. She recalled his plan for a fence. First wash clothes, then gather firewood. I need it. He chewed fish. Okay. She nodded gently. Today he needed much wood, for he planned to fire pottery. 1 wooden tub was not enough. Chapter 105, Another First Experience. Why did you go to the swamp? Han raised her head curiously. I went to bring back some clay. So Phong finished his bowl of soup and said, I want to try firing some pottery to use. Pottery? Han widened her eyes in surprise, staring blankly at him as if she did not understand. What is it? So Phong asked. Wait, since when can you make pottery? Han asked in doubt. They grew up together, playing the same games and having the same teachers. Nothing was different. I learned online. Before I found a job, I thought about joining a pottery workshop, then watched videos to learn. So Phong calmly gave his excuse. I see. Han believed, but hesitated and asked, can watching videos alone really make pottery? In the girl's mind, pottery was something high and noble, rarely seen, often linked with antiques. It is fine, I just want to try once. So Phong smiled and said, if it works, we will no longer need bamboo bowls, we can use ceramic plates. Success depends on the clay. If it is bad, the pottery will crack. Even if he failed many times, maybe she would persuade him to stop, but now the girl gave full support. It will succeed. So Phong drank the bamboo soup, put the bowl down and went out. Not eating more? Han asked. No, you eat. So Phong waved, carried the wooden bucket, picked up the shovel and left the hut. Minutes later, he reached the swamp, followed the stream downstream, and found a place about 1 meter wide with slow water. This clay should be good. He jumped down, checked, and saw the muddy bank was clay. Alright, we are not making luxury porcelain, so it is enough. In 10 minutes, thanks to the shovel, he filled the bucket with clay. Back now. He lifted it and carried it to camp. After 10 more minutes, he returned and saw the girl stacking small logs in the middle of the stone field. So Phong, is this enough? Han wiped sweat, scratching her head. Almost enough, come and play with clay. He smiled and waved. We start pottery? Han ran closer, curious about the clay. Yes, let us go inside the hut, it is getting hot here. He looked at the sun. All right. Han followed, helping carry the load. Huff. Inside, So Phong set the bucket down, his shoulders sore from the rope. Drink some water. He drank a bit, then handed her the bamboo tube. Yes. She gulped, draining it dry. He moved a flat rock onto the wooden table as a work surface. The girl sat waiting. Knead the clay well, remove stones and sand. He instructed. Okay. She eagerly took a lump, kneading it like dumpling dough. The sound of clay squished strangely, like two children playing with mud, making it fine and smooth. What now? She asked curiously. Make a base, then roll clay into ropes, layer by layer on top. He guided her patiently. It was the coiling method of pottery. I get it. She rolled clay into strips, placed them along the base. After that, wet it and smooth it, so it will not crack. He continued. He made a small jar about 20 centimeters wide, building carefully. Okay. She nodded, smoothing uneven spots. She made a small bowl the size of her palm, slow but delicate. Except for the sound of clay, they were silent, immersed in a rare experience not found in the city. So Phong, how is it? She asked with a smile. What next? Han asked. Put them outside to dry, make more bowls, later we will fire them. He said softly. His jar was only 1/3 done, still needing time. All right, leave it to me. She cried with joy. Chapter 106, Stay Alert. While others in direct challenges failed to create highlights, most were either hiding in shelters or searching for wild vegetables and fruits, with only a few out hunting. Recently, the spotlight was on the Lu sisters, who luckily caught a fawn that came to them, but then nothing more happened. Cough cough. Wang Lin was drinking water when the screen switched to So Phong and Van Han, making him choke. Teacher Wang, are you all right? Hamin asked with concern, his eyes gleaming with a smile. I am fine, just drank too quickly. Wang Lin shook his head. At that moment, he became cautious, wary of Hamin and the others setting him up again. Hee, Teacher Wang, why is your expression so serious? No Tin Noyet giggled. Ah? Not at all. Wang Lin twitched his lips, forcing a stiff smile. Tai Vidin slightly curved her lips, already knowing the program rules since there were many viewers. Ahem. Let us see what So Phong and Van Han are doing. Hamin steered the rhythm, controlling the scene. Are they playing with mud? No Tin Noyet widened her eyes in disbelief. So idle? No, not playing with mud. Hamin denied quickly. Then what is this? Her clear voice was full of curiosity. They are making pottery. Hamin exclaimed. He never thought anyone would do pottery in a survival show. He himself had learned pottery for a few days in a shop and once made a gift for a friend's birthday. What? Pottery? Wang Lin was stunned. He thought they were wrapping fish in mud like beggar's chicken, a dish often seen in films. Many people imitated it, but here they were making pottery? Was this survival? On screen, the two seemed to change the mood, unlike real survival. Wang Lin felt uneasy, thinking they were just enjoying camping. This often misled his experience, unlike other streams. Yes, I learned for a few days, so I remember. Ha Min confirmed. Why would they make pottery? Isn't finding food more important? Wang Lin questioned. I think pottery is a good idea. No Tin Noyet offered another view. From knowing So Phong and Van Han were making pottery, she thought of many things. Oh? How so? Ha Min asked. Even if not sure of success, once pottery is made, it provides many containers, like storing leftover meat. No Tin Noyet recalled her porcelain at home used to hide secret items. Too much waste of effort and time. Wang Lin disagreed, insisting food mattered most. What about Vaidin? What do you think? Ha Min asked the martial girl, ensuring all had a say. Oh, seems Vaidin agrees. Ha Min smiled. Humph. Wang Lin snorted, thinking the two girls did not understand survival. Let us check the audience's questions then. Of course, all was staged by the directors, who had already chosen, ensuring highlights. The screen soon filled with flying comments, selecting a green one. He thought, the show team loves drama, not fearing to anger Wang Lin. Fine, I will never do pottery. Wang Lin rolled his eyes. Now, second question. Ha Min saw the screen pause, then smiled. Expert Wang, is it because you cannot make pottery that you reject the girl's idea? The program surely stirred things up, just as everyone thought. No, it is rational analysis. Wang Lin's face darkened. He indeed could not do pottery, though that partly influenced him. Next question. Ha Min looked at comments and read, Teacher Ha, do you think So Phong can really make pottery? Ah. Again me? Ha Min was surprised, then replied, hard to confirm, because firing clay needs very high heat, wood fire alone is hard. So if heat is not enough, pottery surely fails? Wang Lin frowned. Exactly. Ha Min nodded, for water it leaks, but dry items may hold. Is it very hard? No Tin Noyet asked curiously. With just wood fire, yes, hard to reach high temperature. Ha Min explained. I hope Van Han and So Phong do not fail. No Tin Noyet said nervously. Wang Lin smiled faintly, waiting for the result. Chapter 107, Building the Clay Kiln. Another one is done. Van Han shouted happily. Books. The girl held a clay plate in both hands, her face glowing with a joyful smile. Today she was very delighted. After the pressure in the wilderness, she finally felt free. I will put it out to dry. Van Han carried the plate quickly outside. She had already made 3 items, 2 bowls, and now this plate. Check the ones drying outside for cracks. So Phong lifted his head and instructed. All right. Her clear voice answered. It has been a long time since I saw Van Han so childlike. So Fong's lips curved into a warm smile. He realized that making pottery today was indeed the right decision. In the first nights here she had nightmares, which worried him about her spirit. Soon Van Han ran back, smiling. So Phong, the pottery is fine. She wiped the sweat from her forehead, then focused again on shaping the clay. Seems this clay is quite usable. So Phong nodded with satisfaction. His small jar was already half done, about 30 centimeters tall. With so few tools, he could only work roughly, skipping some steps. So Phong, can we fire them today? Van Han asked curiously. It was her first time making pottery, naturally she wanted to see the result soon. It should be possible. So Phong thought and nodded. It was still morning, near 10 o'clock, and night was far away. That is great, if we can fire them today, we will eat with ceramic bowls. She feared So Phong had other plans and the clay might run out. There is still plenty of clay, just use as you like. Wonderful. Van Han cheered, counting on her fingers, 2 bowls for eating, 1 kettle for water, and another plate for food. No need to finish all at once, we can add more later. So Phong quickly interrupted her ambitious plan. According to her idea, everything in the shelter would be replaced with pottery, which could not be done in one day. Oh right. Van Han raised her head and asked, when we leave here, can we take these with us? She wanted to keep them as souvenirs, maybe even give some to the orphanage children. This should be fine. So Phong hesitated, then looked at the camera. Such a small request, the program team will agree. Haha, so Phong, you were so sly. Van Han laughed, clearly speaking for the program staff. So Phong shrugged helplessly. While talking they kept working, and when his small jar was done, an hour had passed. So big, larger than the wooden bucket, filled it could even be used for bathing. Van Han tilted her head and commented. I will put it out to dry and prepare to build the kiln. So Phong carefully carried the jar, afraid of breaking it. I will go too. Van Han took along the strange kettle she had carefully shaped. Outside the sun blazed, stones burned hot, the clay would soon dry. Leave it here. So Phong found a flat rock, brushed off the dust and placed the jar. So Phong, how to build the kiln? The principle is about the same. He thought, scanning the area, quickly finding a suitable spot. He stepped to the edge of the camp, where fewer stones lay. Bring me the military shovel. Okay. Van Han ran into the hut. So Phong cleared the stones, revealing flat ground, then took the shovel and dug. What should I do now? Van Han squatted nearby and asked. Yes, this will work. He observed, recalling the traditional earth stoves, with firewood below and cooking above. Here is water. Van Han handed him 2 bamboo tubes and poured water into the clay. Not so wet. So Phong shook his head, kneeling to mix the clay. He wanted to turn the stove into a kiln, so the heat would reach pottery firing temperature. Clay lumps as big as an arm were placed around the pit. Then he set wooden sticks across the top as supports. Is this not just a fire stove? Van Han muttered, then seeing his sweaty face, she ran off. This is not just a stove. He started to explain, but she was already gone. He spread his hands, continued adding clay over the sticks, then poked holes for air to flow. The last step was to let the sun dry the clay, then layer more mud to form the kiln wall, so the pottery would not be damp. Chapter 108, An Unexpected Hot Pot. The petite girl was pressed by the branch, her body swayed as if about to fall. What are you doing? Sua Feng rushed to hold the branch. I use it to block the sun. Yun Han panted. Block the sun? He looked at the branch, then realized and whispered, Come on, let us rest in the hut, after some minutes we return. Is the kiln ready? Yun Han asked in surprise. Not yet, let the clay dry in the sun, otherwise the foundation is too soft and will collapse. He explained. Building the kiln was like building a house, the foundation had to be solid, and this kiln was quite tall. Then let us keep making pottery. She nodded and walked toward the hut. What will you do next? He asked curiously. The girl had made 2 bowls, 2 cups, a small table and a teapot. I will make a charcoal stove, so we can grill fish and make hot pot. She whispered. Hot pot? He was stunned, frowning. Was it really time for an unexpected hot pot? If they hunted a deer, they could enjoy deer hot pot. The thought itself was delightful. Yes, we have many wild vegetables, they will taste great in hot pot. She licked her lips. Well, that sounds good. He twitched his lips, the image of deer hot pot faded like the wind. After half an hour. Put that branch up. She reminded. Looking at the sparse leaves, he sighed, hope it gives some shade. Crack. He stuck the branch before the kiln, the leaves blocked the sun, keeping him from being burned. Using bamboo matting method, he built the kiln, layer upon layer of clay. After half an hour, a kiln 1 meter high and 40 centimeters wide was finished, looking like a chimney. So this is the kiln? Her voice came from behind. NK Books. He turned and saw her standing there. He teased, "Heroine, when did you arrive?" She pouted, "You were so focused, I stood here a while." Ah. He was speechless, too focused to notice. "Can we fire pottery now?" she asked. "Let the sun dry it more, or the pottery will get damp." He replied softly. "Fine." She sighed, waiting longer. "Do not rush, today we can fire them." He comforted. He pulled the branch away, letting the sun bake the kiln. With this heat, 1 hour was enough to dry. Phong, clay is not enough," she said weakly. "You used it all?" he asked in surprise. She nodded. "I made a wash basin with the rest. Not big, only the size of my 2 hands." She quickly explained, showing her fair hands to measure. "About 30 centimeters." He muttered, measuring with his fingers. Her hand span was shorter. "It should still fit, right?" she asked nervously. "No problem." He nodded firmly. Then he said, "I will fetch more clay, you do as you like." Carrying a wooden bucket and spade, they went to dig clay, spending half an hour before returning. Back in camp, they cleaned stones and impurities from the clay. "I wonder what time it is," she muttered while kneading clay, then drank from a bamboo tube. "What time?" The question gave him an idea. He whispered, "Let us make a sundial, then no need to draw shadows on the ground." "Me, how?" She pointed at herself. "Yes, now I take these 4 clay plates to dry." He nodded. He shaped 4 clay plates to cover the kiln top, to preserve heat. He brought them out to dry, looked at the sun, and calculated, it should be early afternoon, maybe 2 or 3. "It is not early, we can try firing pottery." He did not want to wait. Checking the small jar, it was dry. He carried it to the kiln. He touched it, found it dry, the sun was strong. "Place it upside down inside, it should fire well." He set the jar down, then placed her 2 bowls inside, and put the jar over them. Chapter 109, A Surprise. He had just stepped into the wooden hut when he saw the young girl about to go out. "So Feng, you came just in time, how do we divide the area this time?" Yunhan held in her hands the round sundial. "Just like this, after firing we will carve the lines, that will make it clearer," So Feng said with a smile. "Ah." Yunhan froze, looking down at the sundial in her hand. Could it really be that simple? Sometimes people make things too complicated, but the essence is very simple, unless they study something very profound. So Feng squatted down, grabbed a burning stick and walked out. "Are you going to start firing the pottery?" Yunhan quickly asked. She hurried after him. "About how long will it take?" "Half an hour." So Feng thought and said, "At least we must let the pottery burn through, red hot before stopping. If the fire is not strong enough, the pottery will be porous and leak water." "So that is it." Yunhan nodded vaguely. She still did not understand. This was her first time seeing such work. In society few people know pottery knowledge, except some specialists or those who learn by chance. So Feng quickly lit the torch. Thick smoke rose from the kiln, but the flames would not catch. "Not like this, the heat is not high enough." So Feng found a bamboo tube, aimed at the fire hole and blew hard. Hoo. Air rushed in, oxygen increased, the fire flared up at once, wrapping the pottery inside. "Wow, such big fire." Yunhan was startled and stepped back. The heat was too strong. "Yunhan, bring those mud slabs." So Feng turned and instructed. "All right." She turned to fetch the dried mud slabs and soon brought them. "Still not ready?" Yunhan moved the wood beside. "It is fine, keep it like this, let the pottery stay inside away from sparks." So Feng moved a rock to block the fire mouth. "How long will it take?" Yunhan asked curiously. "About 4 to 5 hours." So Feng whispered. Then it will be dark already. Yunhan exclaimed. She thought once fired it could be taken out. We cannot rush. Sofeng explained with a smile, wait until evening about 7 or 8, open the kiln and let it cool for an hour, then we can take the pottery out. If not cooled, the kiln will be ruined. He did not want that, even if it was built of mud it could be used a few times. I will make some torches, we will need them tonight. Sofeng said. Torches? How to make them? Yunhan asked in surprise. Use pine resin, it burns long. Sofeng pointed west to the forest, we saw pine trees there before, we can collect resin to make torches. Then let us go, bring bamboo tubes and water. Sofeng laughed. They gathered things and went toward the pine forest. That pine forest was found in their first exploration, not far, about 15 minutes away. Sofeng, I heard pine needles can be brewed as tea? Yunhan looked at the long leaves. Sofeng nodded then said, but not every kind can be used. Pine trees have many kinds like white bark pine, luohan pine, taxus. Then can these leaves be used as tea? Yunhan asked. Yes, these are oil pines, the leaves have medicinal value. Sofeng picked a long leaf, smelled it, fresh yet pungent. After yesterday she treated his wound with hemp, she was more curious. Oil pine leaves can brighten eyes, calm nerves, stop itching. Sofeng briefly explained. Then I will pick more. Yunhan happily gathered the leaves. Go ahead, pick a lot. Sofeng shrugged and looked for resin on the trunk. The trunks had plenty of resin, easy to find. He used a stick to scrape resin into the tube, repeating the tiring work. In the wild one needs patience, giving up easily means making excuses. Sofeng, this resin piece is huge. Yunhan shouted excitedly. Take more, we can also make candles. Sofeng replied with a smile. Then one day we will have a candlelight dinner? Yunhan laughed, no girl does not like romance. There will be a chance. Sofeng smiled gently. He remembered her birthday was near, he must give her a surprise. They filled all the bamboo tubes with resin, and only when it was dark did they return to camp. Chapter 110, Wanting to Bite Out of Excitement. The young girl was braiding shoes, determined to make a few pairs for Phong, so whenever she was free, she started working on them. Phong was making torches, waiting to open the kiln to release the heat. Cracking sounds rang as he split wood patiently. Phong, what are you doing? Yunhan asked curiously. This is the core fuel of the torch. Phong smiled. No, using sticks soaked with resin burns out quickly, it wastes too much. He shook his head and explained, resin must be mixed with other materials to last longer. I see. Yunhan nodded, pointing at 11 wood fragments, so these are to be mixed with resin? How did you come up with this? She exclaimed. Such a method was not easy to imagine. I saw in movies they used cloth and oil, I just improved it with different materials. Phong said calmly. You are amazing. Yunhan smiled brightly, giving a thumbs up. You flatter me. Phong clasped his hands, smiling. Yunhan rolled her eyes, then stopped working to observe him, wanting to learn torch making. Seeing her interest, he explained, torches do not need to be too big, medium bamboo saves material and burns evenly. The bamboo joints must be pierced, otherwise fire may cause explosions. He pierced the bamboo joints with a stick. If it exploded, resin could splash on the body, which was dangerous. He stuffed wood chips mixed with resin into the bamboo, compressing them tightly to slow the burn. He raised the torch and said, now it is done. Yunhan took it and said, it looks like a candle, not a torch. Large torches need large bamboo, this small flame is perfect for hiding places. Phong said. Want to try? She asked eagerly. Go ahead, use it to open the kiln. He nodded. Then I will light it. Yunhan placed it in the fire, and it caught easily. Let's go. So Phong grabbed the shovel and led the way outside. They looked toward the kiln, only seeing a vague outline. So bright. Yun Han said in surprise, I thought the flame would be as small as a candle. Because of the resin. So Phong replied calmly. Who? Yun Han exhaled white mist, realizing the night was cold. She had not bathed, her hair unwashed, wanting to ask about hot water but hesitated. He pushed away clay tiles from the kiln, now turned to pottery. Then he moved the stone blocking the mouth, still warm. Hot air rushed out, warming them. So warm. Yun Han relaxed. Take out the charcoal, then we can leave. So Phong shoveled coals out to cool the kiln. Rustling sounds came, some still glowing, heat radiating strongly. Good, when it cools, we will know if the pottery is good. He said with relief. Then let's return quickly, it is getting colder. Yun Han urged. She feared he might catch a cold, as only the front had heat while their backs froze. Night wind blew without shelter, chilling their skin. Let's go. So Phong walked ahead, saying, if the small jar works, tonight we can have hot baths. Ah? Yun Han froze, then asked, what does hot bathing have to do with pottery jars? Very much related. He nodded firmly. Could it be, you put the jar on fire, she guessed. No, too troublesome and inconvenient. He said with a twitch of his lips. Placing jars on fire was time-consuming and hard to move. Then what method? She asked, pouting. Seeing his mysterious look, she grew so annoyed she wanted to bite him. Chapter 111, that simple? Backstage staff lowered the drone, preparing to capture So Phong's voice. I am really curious, how can you bathe with hot water in the wild? Honestly, in the city if I skip one day without bathing I feel itchy, in the wild after several days it is unbearable. Do you think everyone is as lucky as that little lowly? Others have gone 7 or 8 days without a bath. With that sour smell, maybe even beasts would be choked. So Phong seems to know everything, from bows to pottery, will he even smelt iron next? With So Phong around, I would dare to survive in the wild. The method is very simple. So Phong stepped forward, smiling softly. Just think a moment and you will see. So Phong, tell me quickly. Van Han urged, poking his waist. So Phong glanced at the drone above, lips curling mischievously, then whispered in her ear. Ah? That simple? Van Han was shocked. Not exactly, the premise is to have that small water jar. She furrowed her brow, then realized. Without the small water jar it cannot be done. Exactly, a container is always the biggest problem. So Phong nodded. So you had it planned all along. Van Han was amazed. The weather is too cold, I cannot let you catch a chill. He shook his head and stepped inside the hut. By his plan, pottery would not be fired so fast, at least a month of food should be stored first, then pottery fired later. But plans change, her cold forced him to adapt. He, I will not fall ill again. She laughed, ice tender, hurrying in after him. The audience stared, what was happening? Whispering secrets? No way, just 2 of them whispering? Too much, clearly guarding against us. NK Books. She said it was simple, related to a small jar, why does it feel familiar? As a modern youth, So Phong was not shy of directness. Not a saint, he too desired reward, doing it all for the audience effect. He did not know how others acted, nor what viewers thought, but if casual effort gained more praise, it was worth it. So Phong, how about mint and charcoal for washing hair? Van Han prepared bathing items. Materials are limited. He sighed, knowledge was there but not materials, else he could make soap. Like animal fat could serve as an ingredient. He cut bamboo to make tongs, preparing for bathing. The stone must be good. After finishing the tongs, he sought hard rocks, tossing them into the fire. Those who knew survival would see what he was doing, those who did not thought he was wasting time. Time passed, the two busied themselves, then he made a torch. Ah. She yawned, covering her mouth. Come, let's check the pottery. He set down the torch, seeing her drowsy. All right. She perked up, taking the torch. TSS. Stepping outside, wind chilled him, goosebumps rose, but he stayed calm. Hurry, bring it back. She urged. Was it successful? She asked curiously. Perfect, no cracks. She checked by torchlight. He set down the jar, took out 2 ceramic bowls, tapped them, clear sound ringing. He handed her one. Test it, if no leaks then it can be used. Okay. She accepted proudly, her first pottery. Let us go back. He carried the jar, hurrying. After a day of work, it was time to test. They sat at the wooden table, poured water in with bamboo. Eyes fixed on the jar bottom, minutes passed, then they smiled. No leaks at all. She cheered. Yes, success. He relaxed, smiling. Prepare, time for a hot bath. He placed the jar near the fire, using bamboo tongs to drop stones inside. I already prepared. She brought clothes. Come, channel water into the tub. He set the jar in, placed bamboo pipes through gaps, one end to jar, the other to water trench, leading flow. SSS. Steam hissed, water heated the stones quickly. Chapter 112, A Sense of Admiration. Let me test the water temperature first. Phong whispered and stepped into the wooden cage. He used stones to heat the water, but the hardest part was controlling the temperature. Too many stones made it too hot, too few, and it stayed cold. There was also a dangerous point, as hot stones meeting cold water could crack and shatter, especially when rinsed, pieces might fly out. Fortunately, the wooden cage kept the stones from harming people, they only needed to pour water from outside. As for the heat, one had to test by hand, after a few tries it became experience. Phong dipped his hand, then moved the bamboo tube aside, whispering, You can bathe now. Phong, you bathe first, you are not wearing clothes. Yunhan handed him a towel, crushed charcoal, and a set of underclothes. Well, alright, you warm yourself by the wooden tub first. Phong hesitated then nodded, receiving the items. Good, I will boil some water to wash hair. Yunhan softly replied. Go then. Phong enjoyed his first hot bath in the wild. Hoo-hoo. Warm water poured on his body, at that moment he felt utterly relaxed, a whole busy day now seemed worth it. If I could build a big tub to soak in, it would be even better. He thought while bathing. He brought the bamboo tube, filled the small jar, once again enjoying the hot water. With this jar, many things can be done. He whispered. A while later, he finished, took out the stones from the jar, they could not be reused or they would crack. So cold. Phong ran back into the hut, saw the girl taking the iron pot off the fire. Well, how is it? Yunhan smiled. Very comfortable. Phong gave a thumbs up, but holding underwear in hand looked odd. You must wash my clothes too. Yunhan rolled her eyes, snatched the underwear, planning to wash it in the morning. Cough cough. Phong awkwardly cleared his throat, now everyone knew the color of his underwear. He glanced around, saw the pot with pine leaf water, quickly changed the subject, let me wash your hair. Yunhan blinked in surprise, her long lashes fluttering. Why not, the jar water is not enough for both bathing and washing hair. Phong said gently. It is the first time you offered to wash my hair. Her lips curled in a smile. She had washed his hair before, sometimes wishing he would do the same for her, never thought it would happen here. There will be many more chances later. Phong said with a grin. I will remember. Yunhan replied playfully. As long as you need, anytime and anywhere I will help you wash your hair. Phong smiled. He brought the tub, took the pot from her, poured the pine leaf water, tested the heat, it was just right. Come quickly. He waved, choosing a spot outside the hut near the fire. Coming. Yunhan gave him the charcoal powder, obediently squatted and lowered her head. His long fingers gently rubbed her scalp, then combed through her hair. I will pour, close your eyes. He reminded, pouring water with the bamboo tube. Yet his heart was touched, when he saw droplets slide down her neck, he quickly caught them with his hand, feeling the soft skin. Ah! Her neck shrank, face blushing red. Almost done. He hurriedly pulled back, carefully washing her hair. Soon, Yunhan finished, stood up, her neck wet, face smeared with charcoal, looking messy. I will move the stones. Phong said with a crooked smile, taking the shovel. This experience will not be forgotten. Yunhan wiped her face,
NK
blinking,
books.
carrying laundry away. SSSHHH. Steam rose again, she entered the wooden cage, bathing in hot water. Such a familiar feeling. She let the warm water run, her beautiful face softening. She thought of Phong again, of his pottery, of this hot bath, all striking her deeply. Perhaps she admired him. As a child she once did, but as she grew it faded, no longer naive like a follower. But since facing dangers together, that admiration returned, slowly growing deeper. Chapter 113, Expanding the Scale. So it turns out stones can be used to heat water. No Tin Noyet exclaimed. That is truly a clever idea. Ha Min praised. Wang Linfeng kept a stern face. From the moment he saw Phong put the stone into the fire, he already knew the benefit. Thus, he stayed quiet most of the time, though yesterday he had questioned making pottery as a waste of time and energy. But today, Phong and Van Han had enjoyed hot baths, something unattainable in the wild. The smell was unbearable, like salted fish preserved for a year. That day he shaved off all his hair and soaked for an hour. Teacher Wang, what is your opinion on Phong and Van Han's actions? Ha Min asked with a smile. The proper comment left the director a bit disappointed, expecting Wang Lin to argue and insist on his belief. Indeed, I even envy the life of Phong and Van Han. Ha Min chuckled. Ji Wei Ting glanced at the old fox Ha Min. Last night at dinner he had not spoken so. I think it is romantic. Phong helped Van Han wash her hair. No Tin Noyet leaned her chin, eyes dreamy. Ahem. Ha Min coughed to break her fantasy. He judged fairly, Phong could create pottery, that was beyond expectation, ordinary people lack such knowledge. Yes, knowing pottery making is very useful in the wilderness. Wang Lin quickly added, covering his words from yesterday. Just to get hot water for bathing, he made pottery, that is impressive. No Tin Noyet praised warmly. In truth, to many viewers it was entertainment, but ordinary people felt this was what true survival looked like. Vai Ting, do you have any thoughts to add? Ha Min asked the silent warrior maiden. None. She wished to try wild survival herself, to temper her will. These days she had seen many quarrel over trifles, finding excuses to slack. It was a colorful crowd, only a few groups truly shone. It seems Phong has won favor from two goddesses. Ha Min lightened the mood. In his ear, the director said, prepare to switch to another live feed. Let us observe the next stream, please keep quiet. The screen switched to Louis Thursday and Louis Mang. This time it is twin sisters. No Tin Noyet blinked, watching closely. She admired them, two girls daring to survive in the wild, even more persistent than many men. Ha! What are they doing? Ha Min gasped. On screen, Louis Meng and Louis Thursday stared in shock outside the hiding place, then their voices came through the camera. Sister, what is out there? Louis Meng asked fearfully. I do not know. Louis Thursday held a military knife, on its blade hung venison, her face tense as she looked outside. The two were preparing to roast venison, but before eating they heard noises outside, startling them. "Should we go out to see?" Louis Meng bravely asked. "No, do you want to die?" "What if it is dangerous?" Louis Thursday rejected sharply. Going out at night was unwise, especially for two girls. "Naya," Louis Meng meekly replied. "Tonight, we take turns keeping watch, the fire must not die." Louis Thursday said sternly. "All right." Louis Meng nodded. So they sat by the fire, eyes fixed on the hiding place, fearing beasts would charge in. Observers in the stream, though lacking drones, could clearly see what caused the noise. It was just bamboo rats scaring them. No Tin Noyet said blankly. Likely in the day, the twins' presence scared them off, now at night they came to feed. Wang Lin analyzed. Since the twins entered the bamboo forest, rulers changed, the rats waited till night to forage freely. The bamboo rats were unintentionally taking revenge. Ha Min joked. The sisters lived near So Phong, if they joined together survival would be merrier. No Tin Noyet whispered. Not necessarily. Why not? No Tin Noyet frowned. Dominant position differs, only one team can be top-ranked. Wang Lin raised his finger, and food pressure, unequal effort, unequal meals, surely quarrels would arise. He had seen it often, especially with such great prizes for first place. The sisters are very diligent. No Tin Noyet pouted and said, naturally, capable people hold dominance. Not always, greed is human nature. Wang Lin said flatly. All right, soon it will be clear, the groups will surely meet. Ha Min mediated. On Huin Noyet Island, challengers were not bound to stay put, many chose to move, seeking to expand their scale. Chapter 114, Son-in-Law? The young girl rubbed her hands, carried the washed clothes and ran towards the wooden hut. Before reaching she already smelled the fragrance. Van Han stepped in, she saw So Phong grilling fish, the aroma spread making her swallow saliva. She shook her wet hair, softly asked, So Phong, are you hungry? No. So Phong raised his head, gazing at the girl like a blooming lotus, his eyes flashed surprise. He said gently, today the pottery firing succeeded, so I grill fish to celebrate. Yes, just grilling a fish. He knew she was worried, so satisfying a little appetite and spirit was enough, life needed rituals. All right. Van Han smiled, then closed her mouth, not wanting to spoil the mood. She sat by the fire drying her hair, combing slowly with a bamboo comb. Sizzle, fish oil dripped on the charcoal, aroma spread. Van Han wrinkled her nose, peeked at the fish, her mouth moved as if her dinner had gone. Almost ready. So Phong noticed her look, his lips curved, he said, in the iron pot is hot water, later we use the clay cup you made to drink tea. Oh, good. Van Han was startled, quickly answered. Drip lemon juice, it removes the fishy smell. So Phong squeezed lemon on both sides of the fish, then sprinkled salt. Fish is done. He placed it on bamboo tray, set on the table. After preparing the tableware, Van Han sat down, the fish untouched. Let's raise the cup. So Phong smiled lifting the cup. Raise the cup. Van Han laughed, clinked the cup, sipped pine leaf tea. She frowned, the taste is bitter. With fish it is fresh. So Phong ate fish, drank tea, simple but warm. Tomorrow will you fire pottery again? Van Han asked. Yes, I will make more batches, prepare the daily tools. He nodded. They needed pots, bowls, jars, and small vats for water and meat marinating. In a few days he would go hunting, tools must be ready. Then I will continue making pottery. Van Han answered happily. Make a full set of daily tools. So Phong said softly. Leave it to me. She responded firmly. An ancient mansion over 100 years old housed a powerful figure. The study was elegant, filled with antiques. The Tu family, an ancient clan, always valued land, especially mountain ranges. For great clans, eternal land was the foundation, their root. Well, have you contacted them? The old voice sounded. It was to Patriarch, a business legend. Grandfather, when Noyat Island is guarded by the army, our men cannot enter. A strong voice replied. And Truong Chivai, what did he say, not giving face to the family? The Patriarch asked calmly. We sent people, but could not even enter the gate. Tanam spoke. He was third-generation leader, starting to take over. Oh, interesting. The cloudy eyes flashed, wrinkles eased a bit. Grandfather, what should we do now? Tanam asked unwillingly. Truong Chivai must have been warned, so he avoided us. The Patriarch said. Unless the matter was grave, people would not avoid him. Try to connect with the staff, maybe it works. He thought. Rules were hard to break, but holes could be found. Who has the highest chance to win? He asked. There are 12 groups, 5 groups with higher chance, 9 people stand out. Tunam answered. Good, do not miss any, try all. The Patriarch narrowed his eyes, said, Tell them, as long as they give the eternal land inheritance to the family, I guarantee their life will be worry-free. Understood. Tunam bowed. As for that girl, he never cared, not believing she could survive a year in the wild. Yes. Tunam replied. Chapter 115, The Lowest Standard of Rich Lowly. This morning the sound of birdsong echoed through the forest, falling into So Fong's ears as gentle and pleasant. Perhaps thanks to the hot bath last night, his sleep was deep, and he woke up without any trace of fatigue. Where is Van Han? Up so early today? He noticed no weight beside him, his hands in the sleeping bag touched no one. He turned his head toward the wooden hut but saw no familiar figure. Did she go out? He muttered, sitting up as a chill swept over his body. Rubbing his arms, he sighed, seems like the cloth should be taken out and used. The thought reminded him of the marking. Mark! He commanded in his mind. A second later, a simulated screen appeared before his eyes, the number 12 lit up. Dressed in his 11th combat clothes, he stepped out of the shelter and saw the girl crouching by the water trench, washing clothes. Still keeping the habit of waking early, seems she is adapting to the wild. He thought as he watched her slim figure. In the city, they also woke up early, especially the girl, who always prepared breakfast and revised her studies. Van Han bore the title of top student, yet she was diligent, her talent shining even brighter. Toilet. So Phong excused himself. When he came out from the wooden restroom, he saw her carrying the clean laundry back. Why not sleep a bit more? Careful, it might stunt your growth. He warned softly. She was about 1 meter 56, 16 years old, still growing. That is what is stunted. Van Han pouted, proudly puffed her chest, just 2 more years, I will surely reach at least 1 meter 66. Really? He glanced at her flat chest under the loose jacket, thinking she barely met the lowest lowly standard, nothing more than a runway. Humph. Sensitive to his gaze, she tossed her long hair and said innocently, Piggy. Carrying clothes to dry, she moved while the sun had yet to rise. Compared to city life, they had already slept more than 8 hours. People used to labor never let themselves idle. Let's fire those pottery pieces. So Phong too kept busy, bringing out the pots she had made the previous day, including water basins, mirror stands, bowls, teapots, and plates. He placed them into the kiln and murmured, Perfect, by afternoon we can fire another batch. Hoo-hoo! After stoking the fire, the torch blazed fiercely in the wind. After half an hour, he sealed the kiln and waited silently for afternoon. So Phong, breakfast is ready. Her clear voice called. Coming. He washed his hands at the trench, returned to the hut, and saw the meal laid out. In the iron pot, wild vegetables were much less than usual. It's finished, this is the last of the greens. She sighed helplessly. Although they had fish, they still relied mainly on greens and seaweed. Fish was not the main dish, otherwise, they would quickly exhaust the supply. Winter is coming, I think we should pickle some vegetables. Luckily we have salt, otherwise we will have nothing to eat.
NK Books,
she suggested. That works. His eyes brightened, it was indeed a way to preserve food. Many places had the custom of pickling vegetables, turning fresh produce into preserved foods. They happened to have pottery containers. But no staple food, it would be better if we had some. She sighed. Staples filled the belly, nutrition was secondary in the wild, as long as they were not starving. There will be, next time we explore I'll find some starchy roots. He whispered. Some roots in the wild were poisonous, if untreated they could cause poisoning, diarrhea, even kidney failure. If we could find sweet potatoes or potatoes it would be great. She pursed her lips. His mouth twitched, knowing it was almost impossible. He quickly changed the topic. Van Han, make a few more jars like the small one. All right. She nodded, crafting jars was easy, patience was the challenge. This afternoon we will cut some thorn bushes to build a fence, make a yard around. He arranged. Winter brought scarcity, wild beasts would come. For food. In such cases, fire might not deter them, so a fence was essential to guard against night attacks. Do we have to go far? She asked anxiously. Not far, just a few minutes away. He smiled. The forest had many thorn bushes with long sharp spines, beasts always avoided those areas. Though thorn fences were troublesome, they were the best way to keep beasts out. All right. She did not object further. Chapter 116, Wild Vegetables Cannot Be Eaten? So Phong carried the 2 bamboo tubes of cooled boiled water the girl had prepared for him, brought a rope and a chopping knife, and went out just as the sun rose, planning to cut more thorn bushes. The forest never stops changing, plants grow every moment, and on the path he cleared before, tender shoots had sprouted again. In a few days, if it rains a few times, this road will vanish. So Phong sighed. With rain and sunlight, plants grow endlessly, that is the strength of nature. Where thorn bushes thrive, vines are even denser, so he had to open a path wide enough to drag the thorn branches out. Fortunately the place was not far from camp, otherwise it would have been a massive project. In the long run, making a path was beneficial, but in the short term it consumed effort with little result. Yesterday there was fresh fish for strength, really must thank them, otherwise it would be hard to do such exhausting work. In the wild, without protein, after 2 or 3 days the body weakens, the mind dulls, and the situation worsens. That is why, on the very first day in the wild, he worked while his strength was fresh, then hunted, and even if no prey was caught, wild vegetables could still keep him going. If 3 days passed with only wild vegetables, then heavy labor was impossible, for human strength comes from meat. After more than half an hour, he had opened a way deeper into the thorny woods. What once took minutes now consumed most of his time. Gia. Truly dangerous. He pushed aside thorns on the ground, avoiding their grip on his feet. He could not take shortcuts, so he chopped each branch. Crack! With clear intent, he moved swiftly, soon felling a large bush, branches bent aside for easier carrying. The worst was how thorns caught on other branches, wasting more time. For over an hour he chopped, about 10 minutes for each bush. Hoo-hoo! Parched, he had drained both bamboo tubes. Looking at the pile of thorn branches, he sighed, still far from enough. By his plan, building a thorn fence would need at least 20 or 30 bushes. Better drag one load back, drink water, then continue. Cutting was hard, but dragging thorns out was harder. 15 minutes later, he hauled a bundle back to camp, drenched in sweat. No, I must rest a bit. His throat burned like smoke. Entering the wooden hut, he saw the girl absorbed in finishing a new water jar, nearly complete. Done. Van Han smiled, smoothing the surface, stretching her sore back. She turned to fetch water, then saw So Phong at the iron pot, blinking her long lashes in surprise. When did you return? Van Han exclaimed. Just now, I saw you busy, so I did not call. So Phong drank and smiled. Had he spoken, he might have startled her into ruining the jar. Did you finish your water? She asked softly. Yes, I just dragged back a load of thorns to store water. He nodded, wiping sweaty hair with his hand. How was the cutting? Van Han handed him a towel, saying gently, wipe your sweat. Quite smooth. He grinned, wiping off the sticky sweat. Are you hungry? Want a little food? She asked with concern. No, breakfast is not digested yet. He shook his head. After drinking, he stood. All right, I must go cut more thorns. I will go with you. She packed the water into her bag, taking 2 bamboo tubes. You still have pottery to make, why follow? He frowned. I will help, and also pick some wild vegetables for dinner. She smiled lightly. Almost forgot. She laughed, taking the bag from his hand. Go a while, then return to pottery. He said helplessly. He knew she would follow anyway. All right then. She stuck out her tongue playfully. Together they entered the forest under the glaring sun, heading to the thorns. Not long after, she spotted many wild greens under the trees and cried, So Phong, there are so many tender wild vegetables here. She wanted to pick them, but he pulled her back. What is it? She asked curiously. Wild greens should be eaten sparingly, too many may cause illness. He whispered. Earlier they had tasted some, but could not eat much again so soon. Wild greens are abundant, but may contain sour compounds, detergents, or residues. Excessive use increases sickness risk. Ah? How could that be? But we ate them just days ago. Van Han exclaimed in shock. Chapter 117, books. A miscalculation. The two wanted to survive in the wild for a whole year, but eating wild greens too often would greatly raise the risk of cancer. Even if processed, vegetables still had incubation periods, so it was better not to eat them. Next time we must never eat wild vegetables again. Van Han shivered and spoke with fear. It would be ironic if they won the reward only to spend it on cancer treatment. Let's go, there are still many other wild plants we can eat. So Phong said softly. The forest was full of edible greens, it just depended on their knowledge to recognize them. If we could find many mushrooms, that would be great, both nutritious and tasty. Van Han pouted her lips. But you still have to find them first. So Phong laughed and shook his head. He remembered last time searching for chicken mushrooms, spending half a day and finding only one, just enough for the girl to have a small supplement meal. The two chatted as they entered the thorny woods. The girl felt uneasy at the sight of sharp thorns. So Phong, be careful. Van Han said worriedly. It's fine, I've cut many and nothing happened. So Phong smiled. Let me help arrange these branches. Van Han put down her bag, wanting to assist. Go find some wild greens, didn't you say you wanted to pickle them for seasoning? So Phong stopped her, afraid she might get hurt. All right then. Van Han nodded, glancing at her thin arms and accepting reality. Don't go too far, beware of poisonous snakes. So Phong reminded. Got it. Van Han nodded, then searched nearby, occasionally tapping the grass with a stick. They divided tasks clearly, so Phong cut thorns while the girl gathered greens. These days she had learned much about edible plants. More than 2 hours passed, their water was gone, so they decided to return to camp. Let's hurry back for water. So Phong carried a bundle of thorny branches. Yes. Van Han carried a large load of greens, the harvest of over 2 hours. Both bore heavy loads, so they returned slowly, taking nearly 20 minutes. So Phong, drink some water. Van Han entered the wooden hut, offering a clay bowl full of water. So refreshing. So Phong drained it in one gulp. They rested a while, looked at each other's messy appearance, then burst out laughing. So Phong, your hair looks like a bird's nest, Van Han said with a giggle. And you look like a kitten. So Phong poked her cheek with his finger. Really? Van Han anxiously stood up, wiped her face with a wet cloth. Everyone liked to look neat, especially a young girl like her. She asked, "Do I still look dirty?" "No, you're clean." He took the engineer's shovel and left to open the kiln. Tonight he planned to fire another batch. Van Han stayed, sitting at the wooden table, busy shaping clay, soon ready to bake. This time she made clay jars for pickling greens. So Phong cleaned the kiln, gathered firewood, buried coals, then waited another hour to fire again. He looked up at the sun and sighed, "Let's haul the thorn branches first, then think later." He returned with 2 bamboo tubes of water. With the previous trips, the path was clearer, and he brought back more branches. By dusk, he had hauled them all. He also lit the kiln again, firing jars and a small water jug. A miscalculation. Standing by the ditch, watching the sunset, So Phong sighed. Just hauling thorn branches took the whole day, not counting time for fencing. Luckily the branches only covered the outer fence. If both sides used them it would take at least 7 or 8 days. Come on. He turned back and headed to the hut. Wash your face quickly. Van Han brought a clay basin of water, happy with new household goods. No need to carry it. So Phong wrung a cloth and wiped his face. The girl said nothing more, just wanting him to relax after a tiring day. It's all right. So Phong shook his head, clearing stray thoughts. Let's eat dinner, the greens are still fresh. Van Han urged. All right, thank you. So Phong smiled, looking at the iron pot with 3 fish inside. He said nothing, for tomorrow they would hunt, and if they had gains, they could eat more later. Eat more, you spent a lot of strength today. Van Han filled his clay bowl with fish. These bowls were new from the kiln, both intact. You too. So Phong added fish to her bowl. Oh no, I didn't exercise today, I don't need much meat. Van Han pouted, refusing. In the end, the fish still ended up in her bowl. Chapter 118, A New Set of Clothes. A miscalculation forced them to postpone building the fence until tomorrow, or work in the early morning and late evening when the sun was softer. Great, where shall we explore tomorrow? Still the seaside? Yun Han asked excitedly. She always worried about food, as only those who manage the household understand its true value. She cooked every day, fretting inside, saving everything, fearing the day supplies would run out. Toward the meadow, we can gather wild greens on the way, then hunt if the chance arises. So Phong explained his plan. He wanted extra ingredients to cook nourishing meals, for a strong body was essential to survive. He also thought of the hill where deer appeared and planned to try hunting one. Eat the rest of this. So Phong put down his chopsticks after 2 bowls. All right. Yun Han accepted without hesitation, growing used to wilderness life. So Phong trained with his chopping blade, preparing for tomorrow. The girl placed stones into the fire, heating them for tonight's bath. Yun Han suddenly cried, "Ah, I forgot." Forgot what? So Phong asked curiously. The bamboo basket for carrying. Yun Han frowned. Tonight I must weave one, or tomorrow we cannot carry supplies. She had meant to do it days ago but had been delayed. She picked thin light bamboo, easier to cut. Clumsily, she used the shovel to chop, but it cracked without breaking. Let me, you might hurt yourself. So Phong took over with his sharpened blade. Crack, long strips split apart. He fixed the blade against a stone, shaving thin slats. Scritch, the strips peeled smoothly. So Phong, help me make 4 thicker pieces for the basket frame. Yun Han requested. Sure. He quickly finished. She tied the frame in a square, weaving lighter strips around it. She bent sharp edges inward, making a curved and neat basket. Done. She raised it, feather light. It still needs straps. So Phong reminded. Oh right. Yunhan braided ropes into shoulder straps. Soon, the basket was complete. So Phong, cut more bamboo, I will make a smaller basket too, she said softly. She wanted one for gathering, freeing her hands. All right. So Phong nodded and kept shaving bamboo, not difficult once you found the angle. Bamboo split easily, useful for furniture or baskets, and treated further could outlast steel. That should be enough. He prepared plenty, watching the girl weave. He noticed banana bark nearby. Ah, almost forgot this, he muttered, remembering fabric. He burned weeds into ash, collected it, mixed with water, and soaked banana bark. The soak softened it for fibers. So Phong, what are you doing? Yunhan asked curiously. Are you preparing cloth? Her eyes brightened. Yes, we also need new clothes. He smiled. You need them more. Yunhan teased, glancing at his abs. So Phong was speechless. Truly, he did need new clothes. Chapter 119, Scratch My Itch. Yes, yes. Van Han laughed cheerfully, put down the bamboo basket, and stood up to fetch clothes. The girl gathered the shovel that had been heated on the rock and brought it into the wooden hut. She had learned how to make hot water. Put the banana bark to contact, this way it should be faster. So Phong frowned thoughtfully, reaching into the wooden tub for the banana bark. A moment later, the girl came with wet hair, her pretty brows furrowed. What is it? What happened? So Phong asked with concern. My back is a bit itchy. Van Han pouted, her small hand reaching behind to scratch but failing. So Phong pulled his hands out of the tub and asked softly. When did it start itching? This noon. Van Han whispered. While bathing, her hand brushed that itchy spot. The more she touched, the worse it felt, almost unbearable. At noon, when we looked for wild vegetables? So Phong thought and asked. Is it very uncomfortable now? Yes. Van Han nodded with a pained face. Without the camera and So Phong present, she would have scratched madly already. Come, let me see. So Phong waved, suspecting she had touched something dirty, perhaps a caterpillar. Ah? Here? Van Han froze, glancing at the camera. I will move it. So Phong stood up and shifted the camera to face outside the tent. He sat back by the fire and said softly. Come here, let me see if it is too sensitive. Okay. Van Han blushed, walked over, and sat before him, her face dazed. What are you doing? Ah! Van Han exclaimed shyly, turning away. Take off the jacket. So Phong sighed, feeling like he was manipulating a doll. All right. Van Han's voice trembled as her small hand pulled down the zipper. Slowly she slid off the jacket, exposing her fair shoulders and slender arms. So Phong saw her body tremble, the atmosphere turned strange. He had once glimpsed her in underwear, and now it felt similar. He suppressed his stirrings, lifted her hair, and revealed her back clad in an undershirt. Ho ho! He inhaled deeply and asked. Is the itch in the center of your back? Yes. Van Han nodded lightly, her face and ears flushed red. All right. She nodded shyly. So Phong inhaled, pulled her collar down. She shrank forward slightly, making him pity her. He looked carefully and asked. Besides this place, anywhere else itching? No. Van Han shook her head, then hesitated. So Phong, scratch it for me. No, fingers carry bacteria, it will worsen the allergy. So Phong shook his head and released her collar. He stood to search the herbs among the wild vegetables, some could ease itching. But it is too itchy. Van Han pouted, resisting the urge to scratch. It will be quick, wait a moment. So Phong found mint and purslane, crushed them in a bowl. You think too much, this is for external use. So Phong rolled his eyes. Go brew pine leaves for tea, that also helps. Beware of the cold. So Phong glanced at the camera and outside, not seeing the drone. No, it is not cold now. Van Han smiled. Knowing a remedy, she no longer thought of scratching. A moment later, the herbs were pounded to paste. He urged. Done, sit still, I will apply it. All right. Van Han held the cup of pine tea, sat down. Her collar was pulled down, and a wet paste spread on her back. Ho, much better. Van Han sighed, the damp feeling eased the itch. Do not move. So Phong warned, pressing the paste to keep it from falling. So Phong, will you keep pressing? Van Han blushed and asked. Yes, let us see after a while. So Phong replied softly. Chapter 120, a 1-month deadline. The girl asked that because she felt it was hard for the two to endure a whole year. After all, just lasting through the first month could bring them tens of thousands of coins. But if they could not survive the year, they would gain nothing, which seemed not worth it. Do you think we cannot hold on for a year? So Phong asked calmly. He knew about her allergic matter, which made the girl a little worried, and doubt his ability. Yes, a little. Van Han nodded gently. We will get better and better, maybe later you will not even want to leave. So Phong soothed softly. Never. Van Han snapped. No matter how interesting the wilderness was, compared to city life it was still lacking, the basic conditions were much worse, and she liked reading books. Yet from time to time such life still felt quite fun. Let us wait until 1 month has passed before deciding. So Phong whispered. I listen to you. Van Han said tenderly. She only sighed, fearing she might hold him back in the end, since a year at present did not seem easy. Other challengers, who knows how they are, they must have lots of meat to eat. Van Han said while licking her lips. In her mind, if they with no survival experience could live well, then the others must be doing even better. Maybe. So Phong frowned. He did not know about others, but the two of them should not be much worse. Even if the camera was not on them, their voices could still be heard. So their words reached the audience. Ha ha. I suspect the little lowly is swearing, sadly I have no proof. So funny, the little lowly thought the others lived better. Speaking calmly but swearing, if the challengers saw the scene they would be furious. The little lowly is too naive. This proves So Phong is strong, they have never gone hungry. I feel So Phong with that pure girl, they could survive 10 years easily. The storm of comments did not affect them. Time passed slowly in their chatter. Let me see. So Phong withdrew his hand from behind her, also bringing the herbal porridge. He wiped off the liquid and dregs, revealing her white skin with only some red marks left. It is fading. He sighed. Really? Van Han asked joyfully. Only a bit left, do not scratch. He advised. Go sleep, I will bathe first. He stood up stretching. All right. Van Han nodded, feeling sleepy. She gave him clothes, also handed a jacket. Wear it, it is cold outside. Okay. He accepted and wore it. Do not stay up too late. She yawned and went to her sleeping bag. All right. He watched her crawl inside, then took the shovel to heat stones for the tent. He looked at the night sky, the Milky Way so beautiful, and sighed. The girl had influenced him. What if others also lasted a year? How would the result be judged, comparing who lasted longer? The program must have other tricks. He thought. What kind he could not guess, but surely not easy. The prize was too rich, enough to drive people mad, only a year and many would risk death. Stop thinking, tomorrow I must explore. He shook his head and went to bathe. Teacher Ha, I have something to ask. Tae Din suddenly called when Ha Min was leaving. Eh? Ha Min was stunned. No Tin Noyet and Von Lam also paused, surprised she spoke. Here? Ha Min asked. No matter, ask. He shook his head. The two also stayed, curious what she would ask. Teacher Ha, behind this program is there something else we must join? Tae Din asked directly. Why do you ask? Ha Min was shocked. She wanted to focus on martial training, not sitting in the stream hall daily. You want to leave? He asked incredulously. He never thought she would say that, it caught him off guard. Yes, if it is fixed then I have no need to stay, she said frankly. No Tin Noyet nodded silently, feeling it reasonable, since live broadcast could be watched anytime, staying there wasted important things. I only hope you wait 1 month, until the program announces, then decide. Ha Min said bitterly. He knew some rules, but he had signed confidentiality and could not reveal. I will wait 1 month. She nodded and left. 1 month? No Tin Noyet murmured.